Sorry, wrong video. Anyways, hey guys, what's up? This is Teddy Macedo, aka bearRimshot's speaking. Sorry I haven't been doing a special vlog in a while. Well, that's because apparently I've been busy with other things in my life. And yes, people, this also includes making casual reviews of what is the public apology, as well as not one, but two parody videos consisting of a Downfall parody and a Steam Hams dub, all of which are now all up on YouTube. So if you guys can go watch those for my yourselves, will be great. Anyways, today for this special vlog, I'll be talking about my experiences and thoughts on Super Smash Bros. This year. Now, can you guys please excuse me 1 second? I'll be right back. Moment, please. Thank you. Sorry about that. Thought I'd try to get myself some privacy vlogging this as much as I can. But anyways, on with the special vlog. On with the vlog. Anyways, okay, it all started on Thursday. Now, at one point, after I took paratransit here in my house from WJCS, I did want to leave there Thursday night. However, when it comes to Thursday night, that same exact Thursday, day one at Super Smash Con, Thursday evening was very rough for me for two obvious reasons. One, my mom was too lazy in speaking up to me when she was ready to drive me from New York all the way down to Virginia for Super Smash Con. And two, at that time, I was about this close in ruining my friendship with Euro Weekly. Now, I bet you're all wondering, how can I possibly lose my friendship with Euro Weekly? You guys may ask. Now, the first reason on why I would the first, or should I say, the biggest reason on why I would lose my friendship with you is gonna have to be Azuchi Guardian. Now, what can I say, people? I hate Azuchi Guardian. Well, I will admit that I am happy about the fact that he hasn't been a big deal as much anymore as he used to be, which explains why I've been having a really good year this year for myself, and I'm really not going to lie about that. Anyways, it is worth noting that ever since I broke ties with him, going all the way up to Christmas during the Christmas season, during Christmas break in 2017, there was once a certain time period when Azuchi Guardian would have the habit of bugging me to no end. And I know some of you may have asked me before, why is it that I can't move on? Well, if I can be very honest, don't take this the wrong way, people, especially you, Elder, in case you're watching this. I always wanted to move on from Azuchi Guardian. I have already been moved on from him. In fact, I haven't even personally seen Azuchi Guardian himself in 3 years, ever since going way back in 2015. That's for sure. It's just that, well, it is worth acknowledging the fact that when it comes to Azuchi Guardian, he has issues moving on from me, and he literally does this to everyone he gets to work with in his life. No joke about that. And considering of what he did to Jaime Tude 2 years ago, definitely leads up to reason number 2 the Animat fan base. The Animat slash Mr. Coat fan bases. Now, what can I say, people? I love Animat, and I love Mr. Coat and Friends. It's just a shame to... Now, when it comes to the Animat fan base, themselves, it's really a shame to see that it would become such a major toxic fan base for me, considering of how that... Now, when it comes to Animat as well as Mr. Code, and a lot of people who work for Mr. Code, like Huey Toonmore, VG Retro, Sonic Guru, Morgan Ledger, Jaime 2, South Jersey Sam, Sumjic with the camera, and even, whatchamacallit, and even Joey Tedesco, as well as David Rose and the Animated Heroine and Pizza. It is worth acknowledging the fact that these are all reviewers. When it comes to Mr. Code and Friends, including Animat, they've been considered to be my primary influences for when I do casual reviews with bearRimshot. And like I stated before, without everyone from Mr. Code and Friends, including those who moved on like Animat and Morgan, I would not be the reviewer I already became today, you know? And it's just a major shocker to see that, to see certain Animat fans who would go support Azuchi Guardian's idiocy. How would I know that, you guys may ask? Well, let's just say, let me start off with the elephant in the room, Caleb Korger. Now, I know I've been criticizing him too much, and I've been holding a grudge against Caleb, but there's a good reason why that is, you know? It's apparently what he earns for being a troll to me, you know? When it comes to Caleb, he doesn't give a damn when, say, you have a different opinion, you may not agree on. An opinion that's not his. When it comes to Caleb Korger, there are several things about Caleb that bug me. The biggest one being, of course, when he encounters different opinions, he can't handle them. He's just too ignorant to hear out different opinions. He only wants to go with ones that... He only wants to go with those that... He only wants to hear that you agree with him. Otherwise, if you ever tell Caleb... If you ever happen to have a major disagreement with Caleb on something, just to warn you all, he will turn his back on you. No joke. And that's what Caleb Korger exactly did to me. Also, he did, accuse me, he did make up lies about me, including, also worth noting that Caleb Korger clearly has bad grammar. And when criticizing, when as Caleb does feel like explaining why he would consider banning me in the first place, he would misuse certain phrases when I do certain things. Like, for example, the first one being, of course, he would think that I was lying about my mixtape, right? In reality, I could have misunderstood my mixtape. Hell, one funny story, one time on Twitter, I was feeling easily rubbed out the wrong way of a certain joke Morgan wrote on Asian Shape, right? But anyways, as Michael Kimpton, aka VG Retro, came up to me and clarified where the potato joke came from, this potato joke they used from, this is the moment where I somehow did had to amend, and I apologized, and stated that I I'm sorry, that I was sorry, that I admittedly misunderstood. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, from what I've learned back when I was in my first high school, even though this was technically the clinical point when I personally learned about all this, that there is a major difference between lying and misunderstanding. And I think Caleb Corger really, really needs a speech teacher for that, for what he's been thinking about me. No, really. Caleb Corger really, really needs a speech teacher. And for good reason. And another statement that Caleb Corger stated about me, which he misused, would be when he stated that I was stalking Morgan Ledger, which in reality, that is not true about me. What I was really doing with Morgan, as you guys can see, I was just trying to support what I like. You guys have a problem with that? If you do, I'm afraid you're going to have to deal with it for life. How would you feel if someone dared try to stop you from liking something? You wouldn't like that, would you? Exactly, so don't do that to me. Especially you, Caleb. And then, of course, you have Alexander Mirabella. He would go, he wants me to stay, he once stated behind my back, he once slandered me, claiming that I like dramas. Which, keep in mind, as you guys should all know by now, that is not true about me either, Truth be told, I never really liked dramas to begin with. And if you guys don't believe me, take a look at what went wrong during the making of both Epic Battles 2 and casual reviews of bearRimshot's What is a Public Apology. What was wrong during the making of these things, you guys may ask? Well, let's just say, with the case of Epic Battles 2, there's this one obnoxious social worker I had back at high school, at my first high school, named Mr. Ben, who clearly had no idea what the hell is fair use. And non-profit technically counts as fair use without any question. Which definitely does explain why countless fan-made Sonic games exist, as well as some fan-made Super Smash Bros. Games, without having me to ask permission to use rightful owners to use certain characters. Yeah. Whereas with the case of casual reviews with bearRimshot's What is a Public Apology, now I already stated everything that went wrong behind the scenes. Almost everything that went wrong behind the scenes. In case what went wrong behind the scenes, well, of course, is everything I mentioned in my latest update vlog in regards to what Azuchi Guardian did wrong. However, there is one more thing I forgot to mention in my latest update vlog. I'm not sure if you guys remember when I mentioned about how let's just say during the making of casual reviews of bearRimshot's What is a Public Apology, one of the worst, or if not the worst thing, one of the worst things, or if not the worst thing that has ever happened behind the scenes would be all the moments where Azuchi Guardian would have the habit of going a libel. Yeah. Speaking of all the moments where Azuchi Guardian would go a libel on me, this is a moment where it gets painful. He would get all libel in regards to casual reviews of bearRimshot's, and he would go tell people lies about the series. Like, for example, the first, or should I say the earliest lie that Azuchi Guardian did make up about casual reviews of bearRimshot's is that for what is a public apology that I would consider giving out examples of either My Little Pony or Epic Battles for that episode. Well, in reality, from what you guys saw throughout the whole entire episode, I personally did not give out any examples of neither My Little Pony nor Epic Battles at all. In case if you're all wondering why that is, here's why. Now, with the case of My Little Pony, The reviews are all always going to be the same whenever someone dare do something with My Little Pony creatively. I mean, sure, it already got a movie that was written by someone who literally worked at Disney. No joke when I say that. And true, it did get its own fan-made crossover series that turned out to be surprisingly good, turned out to be well executed. But in the end of the day, yeah. The reception is always going to be the same. No joke about that. There's no denying that. Whereas with the case of Epic Battles, although every Epic Battle sequel does have the capability of improving the Epic Battle saga in general, although Epic Battles does help prove that animation is considered to be an art of medium, and crossover media is considered to be an art of nostalgia. And yes, although every single time whenever a new movie gets to be made, they would always help accomplish something one way or another, especially when, like, say if I wanted to do Battle of the Groups at some point. Like, for example, when going all the way back to, say, to Epic Battles 3, to the days of Epic Battles 3, this is the moment where I could make a diversity of different games. Though most of the games I'd be making are when speaking about games that are based on either movies, TV shows, or video games or stuff like that, or just any crossovers, the easiest ones for me to be able to make at that time are pretty much nothing but Disney games, typically. Since when taking a look at the entire group leader roster throughout the whole entire Epic Battle saga, you can tell that most of these characters are considered, that do get incorporated normally Disney characters. However, once Epic Battles 4 kicks in, this is the moment where I was able to make more Battle Groups games based on video games than just those made by Disney, which includes some made by Nintendo, like Mario, The Legend of Zelda, and Super Smash Bros., as well as Marvel vs. Capcom, since when considering comic book characters to be group leaders, the ones that are more likely to be a group leader, from my understanding, are normally from Marvel. Yeah, and, I was also able to make up a game based on Who Framed Roger Rabbit. This would also be the perfect time for me to be able to make a game based on Peter Pan, as well as a game based on, internet reviewers, as well as when Epic Battles 5 kicks in. This is the moment where most likely I should be able to make games based on Shrek, B-Movie, Looney Tunes, as well as more Capcom games than just Marvel vs. Capcom, like say Mega Man, as well as a game based on Sonic, as well as a game based on Lego Dimensions, as well as a game based on Ready Player One. Almost forgot to mention that Epic Battles 4, the days of Epic Battles 4 would also be considered to be a certain time period where I can also make a game based on Wreck-It Ralph. But yeah, as well as some DC games as well, as well as more Marvel games. But anyways, despite all that, it is worth acknowledging the fact that, well, if you guys are ever wondering why I didn't give out any examples of any epic battles movies or stuff like that, well, let's just say I try to refrain from self-referencing, which also marks the same reason why when you guys saw the movie Ready Player One, because that it's directed by Steven Spielberg, and after having to be criticized and doing something like this back when he made 1941, this also explains why in the movie version of Ready Player One, you do get to see a lack of Spielberg references compared to the original book it was based off of. Which is kind of a shame since the original book of Ready Player One did feature a lot of references to the works of Steven Spielberg. But at the same time, it was for the best for Spielberg on his part to feel like he's not being a major sellout, if you know what I mean. And then another thing he also lied to everybody about when it comes to casual reviews of BearRimshot would include that casual reviews with Bear. Another statement that Azuchi Gardner made up that ended up being false would include when he stated that the casual reviews with BearRimshot is canceled, which in reality it is not canceled. Even after I broke ties, stopped personally seeing Azuchi Gardner for myself, I still managed to continue running the show without him, Because let's be honest here, that Azuchi Gardner is indeed an ugly rapist, obviously. Yeah, and for anyone what's curious to know what's going on with the next episode of Casual Reviews of BearRimshot, being the top 11 dumbest Kingdom Hearts moments right now, from what you guys saw throughout the second half of October and all of November, for right now, I'm currently taking a break from doing casual reviews of BearRimshot in general. And no, people, it is not canceled. I can promise you for a fact I'm still going to do it. And just, for some reason I've been busy with other things, especially on the weekends, Stuff tends to come up. But don't worry, people. Once Hanukkah is over, I can promise you all for a fact that I'm gonna start making casual reviews of BearRimshot, the top 11 dumbest Kingdom Hearts moments. If you guys don't believe me, then you guys might. If you guys happen to have either a Facebook or a Twitter account, be sure to follow me on both Facebook and Twitter to be notified. Be sure to friend me on Facebook or follow me on Twitter to be notified on the whereabouts on casual reviews of BearRimshot. That's where you can find any official sources in regards to casual reviews of BearRimshot outside of YouTube. You guys might as well friend me on Facebook and follow me on Twitter. But anyways, yeah. And, another false statement that Azuchi Gardner made up that also came out false, would be that I bothered asking Kyle Pacone to do the title card for casual reviews of BearRimshot. What is a public apology? In reality, I don't know where the hell Azuchi Gardner get such an idea. Considering the fact of how true, there was a time that I did mention him. I did mention more to my September 2016 update vlog. Do keep in mind, the only reason why I mentioned Kyle Pacone at the time is because, well, As you guys can see, there was at one point, as I mentioned before, there was one certain time period where Capcom was considering of collaborating with Tim Singleton, aka the Timinator. However, due to conflicting schedules, due to Kyle moving to New Jersey, as well as Tim busy with his job, looks like Tim Singleton, as you guys can tell by now, has fully been retired from being a reviewer, from reviewing anything. No joke. And no lie either. It's a fact. And also, another lie Zuchi Guardian also made up when he stated that for someone to be my editor of casual reviews of website, he or she has to be from Ardsley. Technically, not really. Now, for someone to be my editor for my review show, I never said that he or she, that the people involved in making casual reviews of website has to be all from Ardsley per se. It can be, it could be, it would be great if it can be. However, I'm open to work with people from other places in all of Westchester County and surroundings as well. I do Dobbs Ferry, I do White Plains, I do Yonkers, I do Chappaqua, I do Pleasantville, I do Hastings, I do Irvington, I do Croton-on-Hudson, I do all those places, pretty much. I could also even consider hiring someone from either New York City, Brooklyn, Bronx, Manhattan, or even Long Island, I will say. Just that, well, for someone to be my editor for casual reviews of website, he or she not only has to be very talented in editing skills, but also camera work, as well as, more importantly, of course, he or she has to be willing to allow me to maintain my creative freedom. Because if I want to do my own review show, I just knew, if you want to do your own review show, you're just going to have to allow creative freedom. Make sure that they allow you to have creative freedom. And when I do casual reviews of bearRimshot's, I prefer to, regardless where they live or where they went to school, I would honestly prefer it if the person who I hire would be willing to let me maintain my creative freedom. And, yeah. And then another false statement is Zuchi Guardian also made up in regards to casual reviews of bearRimshot. Would also include that whatever I do on my YouTube, whatever I do on my part on my YouTube page is considered to be non-canon. Okay, then. Well, technically, that is not true. Surely, as you get to make more new episodes of that same series, the first two episodes being the Disney Infinity and Return to Neverland reviews may not be considered as a top favorite for everyone, which is understandable. But in the end of the day, there should be no denying the fact that they're both considered to be canon, regardless of what I currently have as my editor. Now, saying that the first two episodes of Casual Reviews of bearRimshot are no longer canon just because Zuchi Guardian is no longer my editor, that would be just like saying that all three movies from the original Star Wars trilogy is no longer considered to be canon. The reality is, surely when it comes to the original Star Wars trilogy, not every Star Wars fan is going to regard it as her favorite Star Wars trilogy. For there would be people, well, sure, not every Star Wars fan is going to proclaim the original trilogy to be the best Star Wars trilogy. For you have those who strongly preferred the prequel trilogy, like myself, and those who enjoy the sequel trilogy so far. And yes, this even includes The Last Jedi, as well as the spin-off movies. But at the end of the day, when speaking about the original Star Wars trilogy, it has been and will always be considered canon. Which definitely does explain why when Disney considered including Star Wars characters for Disney Infinity, and when DICE decided to make a sequel to their interpretation of Star Wars Battlefront, this is the moment where they would offer original trilogy options, prequel trilogy options, and sequel trilogy options. Well, it is also why Luke, Leia, Han, Chewbacca, C-3PO, and R2-D2 all appeared in episodes 7 and 8. Maybe not Han Solo for The Last Jedi, but definitely Force Awakens. Well, it is also worth noting that we did get to see two spin-off Star Wars movies taking place before the events of Episode 4, including one based on Han Solo, and one featuring the likes of Darth Vader and Grand Moff Tarkin, as well as we did get to see the likes of Obi-Wan, Yoda, Luke, Leia, and Chewbacca, and Darth Vader, and Palpatine and Boba Fett, all making appearances in the prequel trilogy, and yeah. And the same thing can also be said about the first two episodes of Casual Reviews of bearRimshot's. Surely they may not be your cup of tea once newer episodes of Casual Reviews of bearRimshot's get to be made. But at the end of the day, they're both considered to, regardless of who I currently have as my editor, they're both going to be considered canon. And the same can also be said about what is a public apology, as well as the top 11 dumbest Kingdom Hearts moments as well. And like I've mentioned many times before, if you guys are looking for a non-canon review I did, then you guys are all gonna have to go all the way to Sparking TV for all that. Not to say that you cannot enjoy watching them. Regardless of what I work on, if you guys enjoy what I do so much, then I'm happy for you, in all honesty. But, yeah. I just want to make this clear just one last time. Just one last time, hopefully. And then another false statement is which Guardian also made up in regards to Casual Reviews of bearRimshot's would be that as I did rightfully continue this series without Azuchi Guardian, he would think that I would go call my review show either Teddy's Reviews or Teddy TV, both of which ended up being false. And for good reason, and here's why is all that. Now, first off, let me start off with saying I hated the idea of calling my review show Teddy TV. It sounds too childish, you know. And whenever I feel like doing my own review show, I always want to make sure I make it as a multimedia review series, you know. Not just look into the world of television as if it were to be some TV trash ripoff, but also be able to talk about movies, video games, food, and all that good old stuff. And plus, from what you guys saw already reviewed a movie, and already reviewed a video game. Both of which were edited by Azuchi Guardian, but yeah. And, yeah. And, in case if you all wondering whether or not has there ever... And also, despite the fact that Azuchi Guardian may be considered as the elephant in the room behind the scenes, Azuchi Guardian apparently wasn't the only person to cause havoc behind the scenes for what is a public apology. Of course, there are other things that pained me as well besides as a guardian. Like, for example, there was a reverend from my second high school. Now, back during pre-filming of casual reviews with bearRimshot's, what is a public apology, when I was at my second high school, this reverend who worked at my second high school would have the habit of putting his hands on my beard, which clearly shows that he has no idea why the fridge I would need my beard in the first place at the time. Now, speaking of my beard, regardless where I go, even if, especially, say, I were to see a familiar face, even if, say, I were to see someone whom I have not seen in a long time, I would have to go through people at least saying at least one thing about my beard, no matter if it's good or bad, And whenever I hear people ask me about my beard, I talked about my beard for whatever reason, I always have to explain to these people why I have it, And it is worth acknowledging the fact that I only needed it for a subject matter issue, Considering the fact that it would be connected to something which I will say is my WTFU, As in, where's the fair use? But, yeah. And, yeah. And speaking about my beard, speaking about old friends commenting about my beard, there's this person I knew from Andrews named Chaim Bamberger who would always go bugging me about my beard, asking me whether or not I shaved it yet, let me say this, Chaim Bamberger just needs to learn to be patient. And he should go to hell, obviously. But, yeah. And then, another thing that also pained me behind the scenes will be this person who lives at my group home with me named Joey Heller. Don't get me wrong, Joey Heller was still my best friend over there. It's just, during editing of casual reviews of bearRimshot's What is a Public Apology, there would be times when Joey would happen to be stalking me. No joke. Joey Heller would literally stalk me editing, even without realizing it. Though to be fair, I will give him this, at least he kept everything a surprise for me, which I was happy about. But still, doesn't excuse the fact that Joey Heller was stalking me. Even if he is considered me my best friend, at my group home, And then, yeah. So all the drama I sadly had to go through behind the scenes for what is the casual reviews of bearRimshot's What is a Public Apology. And then of course you also have Chrissy Trotta, and thank God Animat himself, as well as various people within the entire Animat fan base, regardless of what they think about me, do seem to come to realization what a big jerk Chrissy Trotta is, when it comes to Chrissy Trotta, he should seriously go to hell, It's especially what happens when you have him go libel on me, slander me, and all that crap. It's no fun getting to be slandered, And then of course you got Nia Ray, who would go comment about me being autistic. So, Well, I bet you never heard of Autism Awareness Month before, you know? When it comes to Autism Awareness Month, it's basically an event dedicated to, even Morgan did once see in a Cinema Royale vlog pointing out that there are so many good people. There are some people who turned out to be really good despite their weaknesses, you know? I'm sure you may never heard of Ludwig van Beethoven. He managed to accomplish certain things despite having his weakness. And the same thing could also be said about Albert Einstein as well as Stephen Hawking. But yeah. And then of course you have Steph Felton, who apparently decided to block me on all social media sites. Outright blocked me on all social media sites, which is just doing it just because the Suchi Guardian told her so, obviously. And yeah. And then of course you got reason number 3, Morgan Ledger. Considering of how that, when it comes to Morgan, when it comes to this one joke he tossed out on HGB, the potato joke that was tossed out, I know some of you are thinking, just like what I once did, that the potato joke was inspired by what you'd see coming from Silent Mansion. But in reality, that is not the case. It is technically done as an inspiration drawn from a cartoon called Count Duckula. Yeah, so, as Uchi Guardian, if you're ever watching this, please do not sue Morgan if you ever watched Agent Shade for yourself. For he did not steal your joke. You know, steal any material from you, you know? Anyways, and then of course, yeah, reason number 4, which is Mike Mixtape. Once upon a time, last year, there was one certain time period when I was not getting along with him well, mainly because of the idiocy of his Uchi Guardian one. His Uchi Guardian decided to belittle Jaime-tude. And, yeah. And, yeah. And, just be lucky that Mike Mixtape ain't gonna interview Uchi Guardian anytime soon. And besides, I do personally feel that there are much better people within the entire entertainment industry who could have interviewed anyways. Especially when we speak about YouTubers alone. But, yeah. And then, we got reason number 5, which is Dante DeJesus. Now, unlike the other people I mentioned, who meant to do some form of harm towards me, one way or another. With the case of Dante, he doesn't necessarily mean that. Yeah, based on how he presents, how he would treat his Uchi Guardian, you might as well do it all as a mockery. As you guys can see. And then, of course, you got reason number 6, which is the entire Epic Battles for me. Don't worry, Epic Battles fans, I still love you all. But just that, well, yeah, you know. I mean, why end off the Epic Battle saga with Izuchigara being killed off? I mean, there are other things in pop culture, other characters that got to be in Epic Battles that people love. There are other characters. There been other characters that made in Epic Battles that people love better than Izuchigara. No joke, but yeah. Anyways, and now time to get into all the good stuff. On the next morning, I managed to go on a road trip from New York all the way down to Virginia. Though we didn't get there until the afternoon. Still had a lot of fun. And I even got my own drawing. For those who don't follow me on Facebook, I did a drawing I commissioned a drawing of me as Link. Another thing that also occurred is I once again chatted with the makers of the Super Smash Flash games. And I remember seeing that Simon Belmont would be in Super Smash Flash, which is really cool. Too bad the person behind Super Clash Brothers wasn't there this year. I mean, it just looks that friggin' amazing, you know? When it comes to the man behind Super Clash Brothers, Jimmy KJ Force Games, let me tell you all, he is a very nice person. I wonder why the hell would you guys want to trash talk about him? However, I did discover another fan game that exists called Battle Cross Fever, which featured Link, a handful of Sonic characters, a handful of Dragon Ball characters, including Goku, as well as Ryu and Chun-Li. And you know what's the odd thing that Battle Cross Fever has to offer? Although that included Link, as well as a handful of Sonic characters, and Ryu, and Chun-Li, and Goku, they for some reason didn't bother including neither Mario, nor Mickey Mouse, nor Spider-Man, nor Darth Vader. Which is a total shame, considering of how, when we think of Super Smash Brothers, we think of Mario. Hell, it would be a really cool idea if some Disney, Marvel, and Star Wars characters can be in the world of Smash anyways, you know? Though to be fair, I will say this, it is excusable. As much as I'm disappointed to not see Mario, nor Mickey Mouse, nor Spider-Man, nor Darth Vader appear in Battle Cross Fever, legally it's excusable since this is a fan game we're talking about, you know? And speaking of which, I've seen people on YouTube, some various Smash YouTubers claiming, including this one YouTuber, really cool guy named Aaron Nitmar, who would go claim that Disney's gonna say no to Sora and Smash. Personally, I really don't see how Disney could ever possibly say no to Sora and Smash. I mean, let's be honest here. Disney and Nintendo have had a long history together. And plus, Square Enix was already nice enough to allow Nintendo to include Cloud. So no wonder what the hell can go wrong with, say, Sora and Smash. Now I can understand the ideas of, say, Sly Cooper in Smash, Kratos in Smash, or Master Chief in Smash. As well as James Bond in Smash, yeah. I can definitely understand how someone. So yeah, I can definitely understand why, say, someone like James Bond couldn't be in Super Smash Brothers. But saying that Sora cannot be in Smash, really? Because seriously, think about it. Disney is not gonna say no to Sora in Smash. Now I can understand if it were, if it's for any crossover projects, Warner Brothers would consider working on, like, say, either Injustice or Lego Dimensions. I can see where you're going, you know. Even though Warner Brothers already was nice enough to allow Disney to use their characters for Moving Roger Rabbit, Wreck-It Ralph, and its sequel Ralph Breaks the Internet, and Disney was already nice enough to allow Warner Brothers to use some of their intellectual properties for the Lego Movie and Ready Player One. But yeah, it still doesn't excuse the fact that, well, yeah, when it comes to Sora and Super Smash Brothers, yeah, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Sora does come out on DLC. The same thing can also be said about Heihachi, as well as Chun-Li, as well as Banjo-Kazooie and Rayman. And even Crash Bandicoot would be nice as well, but yeah. Yeah, and, yeah, so I guess that Percy Trotta must have raped Mario for some reason. This is what he would do for what happens to Mario and Wreck-It Ralph, you know? But, yeah, don't worry, I'm just joking, but yeah. Anyways, yeah. I also purchased myself a Nightmare Before Christmas t-shirt. When it comes to getting a t-shirt based Nightmare Before Christmas, I did get one that contains profanity by accident. So one time, when I was in the hotel room with my mom did point out that I got the wrong shirt. I got one that contains profanity. Which in reality, I wanted the one that says, "The Dark Nightmare Before Christmas." You know? Too bad Video Games New York wasn't there. And it's too bad the person who served chocolate-covered pretzels. It's too bad the chocolate-covered pretzels guy wasn't there, you know? Let me tell you that those chocolate-covered pretzels that they served really looks delish. Yet I did enjoy some good old candy. And, yeah. Yeah. And, I've tried searching for a USB Nintendo 64 controller and a hard drive enclosure for a mini PC that I can use for my Dreamcade replay. And, it's pretty much what I did for Super Smash Con this year. Until then, I hope you all had a happy Thanksgiving this weekend. And if I don't upload any videos by either next weekend, nor the first whole week of December, I hope you all have a happy Hanukkah. Peace out.